Our next and final speaker is Sarah Weston. Sarah is an enrolled member of the Flandreau Santee Sioux tribe, a multimedia artist. She received her certificate in filmmaking from New York Film Academy. Weston was a writer and editorial assistant for Dakota Lakota Journal. She co-directed, filmed, and edited Dakota 38, which is a film we'll see later today. So please help me welcome Sarah Weston.
Sarah Weston and Makiapihe. Flandreau, Edwati, Madeo Kantuan, Hemataha. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Weston. I'm from Flandreau, South Dakota, and I come from the Madeo Kantuan people. I'm trying not to be nervous because there's Gwen and Tamara and Ben, and they're just amazing. And I get to follow them, and it's really been, for me, just to sit in the audience, such a gift because they have so much knowledge and research, and the way they love their communities is pretty awesome. So I just wanted to say that it's been a really awesome privilege to even be included on the panel with them. I didn't really plan on talking too long about the film, but I'm just going to talk about my history, and it's really it's similar to Gwen and Tamara's. So my family lineage is really what got me involved in the film. My great-grandfather, Gustavus St. Cloud, his Dakota Chaje is Habiamani. And it's kind of really emotional, like the whole, and I think it always will be because those are my relatives. And I felt it when Gwen talked about it, and Tamra, and because I live in Flandreau and I live close to Siston and I see the effects of historical trauma. Just even last week, a girl committed suicide. So for me, it's still very much alive, and we all work to help our people, and part of that is knowing the history and sharing it whichever way we can, and mine just happens to be through filmmaking. But so the history of my family, Khabiamani, he fought in the War of 1862. He was a young man. He was 21 years old, and his parents were older. They were Henry and Sarah St. Cloud. So he fought in the war, and then he was in Davenport, and then he was there for 3 years. He survived that, and then he was in Santee, and then he came up with some other Dakota relatives to where Flandreau is now, which is close to the border of Minnesota. And they were actually the first people to settle officially on paper in Flandreau. And so then after he settled there, then he had one daughter, and he named her Sarah after his mom. And she had my grandpa Andy, and my grandpa Andy had my dad and me. So that's kind of our lineage there. But when I look at that, it makes me realize how lucky I am to be alive. Had he not survived the war, had he not survived that prison camp for 3 years, I wouldn't be here. And so when they talk about the history and all these things that they share, that's real for me, because I wouldn't be here. So in 2008, Jim had this dream in 2005, and they came to Flandreau, and the other filmmaker, Silas Haggerty, he was there. They were at a meeting, and my dad was there, and my aunt, and they called me down there, and this is kind of how I got connected with Silas, the other co-director. And there's one more co-director that we pulled on board, and that was my brother. He helped edit it. And so that was in October of 2008, and then Jim's vision was to go from Crow Creek, where they dropped the women and children off, to ride in the middle of winter from Crow Creek all the way to Mankato and meet up where the hanging was. And for me, I knew my history and my family lineage, and I still have the same emotion that I did that day. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to be a part of it. I know a lot of the history, and it's really emotional, and you guys are probably feeling it too. Maybe some of you, it's the first time you've ever heard it, and it's kind of a lot, but at the same time, there's healing and truth. So it takes a lot of bravery to sit and listen to the truth. And that's kind of what I've discovered through in my short life, is just to be open to the truth, and to determine where we can go. It's really important to know where we come from, and I try to share that with the youth. Like I said, I was up in Siston last week, and they asked me to speak to the kids, and I didn't know they saw Dakota 38 a lot. And Tamara said, "You're kind of like a rock star." And I didn't know it. I was just kind of like, why are they looking at me so funny? You know, and then, but then it was kind of cool too. So I was like, oh, cool, I'm cool up here. But I was like, what do I say to them? They just lost a peer who committed suicide. And so all these things, all these materialistic things, the iPhones, you know, new clothes, whatever, all those things don't matter, you know. And in that moment, and looking at everything that they come from as youth, they have it really hard on the reservation. You know, what could I give them? And you know, I could share all these super intelligent things and ways to go, but at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's time to move back to emotional intelligence, and that's why I do a lot of the work that I do. You know, it's just to be present and share the heart. So that's all I talked to him. I talked to him about the history and the filming. I said, but you know what? At the end of the day, I just want you to know that you're significant and you matter. And whatever it is you want to do in life, it matters. Because if you have that passion, I told them, even if it's weird, like, because when I was little, wanting to get in filmmaking was weird, you know. And I said, go do that, because that's the Creator's way of saying that He needs you. He needs to work through you, and however that is. So just be brave and know that you're significant and it matters, but be very intentional in what you share, especially through media. And we talked about this film, and we had two intentions, was to tell the truth of the history and hopefully bring some healing. And however it comes out is however it comes out, but keep those intentions. And so this is 2008, 2015, so it's 7 years ago. I haven't seen it for a long time, so it'll be interesting to watch it all over again. But I guess we'll just wait until afterwards until you see it. But I just wanted to share that much. I was kind of nervous because everyone had everything written out and they were so professional and awesome, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna wing it. Because with this, it's, you know, there's always a different energy with people. Everyone has different questions and there's different areas, and so I just try to feel it out and see where everybody's at. And I know that it's gonna be tough, but be brave, and it'll be awesome. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.